Hi, my name's Barry Crampton. Today I'm going to show you around our Audi SQ5, then I'll take you for a ride in it. Shut up! But first I'll tell you a little bit more about it, if these sheep will shut up. Be quiet! This is a 3-litre BiTDi Tiptronic quattro. 2013 on a 63 plate, has done 66,315 miles, but I'm using it at the moment so it will have done more. Fuel economy, urban 37.2 miles per gallon, extra urban 44.1 miles per gallon, and combined is 41.5 miles per gallon. Has a 0 to 60 time of 5.1 seconds, a top speed of 155 miles per hour out of a 309 brake horsepower, 6-cylinder 24 valve engine. Okay. It's got the power of a petrol, but the fuel economy and longevity of a diesel. We've got the all-important SQ5 badge there, and high pressure headlamp wash, front fogs at the bottom, front parking sensors, and the low chin spoiler there. The 5 twin spoke alloy wheels, the big calipers with SQ5 printed on, the kind of aluminium door mirrors, brushed aluminium window surrounds, rear privacy glass, and this roof bar carrier system. Electric boot release from the key, but you still have to lift it yourself. Should be plenty of room in the back there. Nice flat loading surface. There's me. I'll try and remember to cut some footage of the boot when it's empty, but I'm not sure when that will be, because as I say, I'm using that and it's got all my gear in. We've got the hard rear load cover there, the 2 handles, one on either side to put the back seats down, so you just pull the handle like so and it flops forward. Quite a good design there. Rear wash white, the rear tailgate spoiler, and then again we've got the rear parking sensors and the quad chrome exhaust tips. Flip the seat back like so, and here we go. There's a handle on the side here. Oh, that's for, you can recline the seats as well a little bit, so that's quite handy. Lovely design of seats, contrast stitching. It's black with light silver grey leather. Centre panels, looks really nice in the back, looks really classy. It's got over mats, rear central armrest. It has Bang & Olufsen speakers, so the sound's fantastic as well. Plenty of headroom. We've got a couple of inset reading lights for the back passengers. I don't recall seeing that on any other cars, to be fair. Then your coat hangers here, and there's also kind of these insets in the roof to put a parcel net, or if you've got a dog in the back or whatever, put the seats flat and then the parcel net up. So again, good design. I'll just take you for a ride in it. The Audi key there, into the slot, foot on the brake, press it in, the vehicle will start. First thing to do is switch off the roundabout collision button. Let's just see. Service history. 20th of 10, 2015 at 10,626 miles, Highland Audi. 1st of the 9th, 2016 at 24,207 miles, Highland Audi. 5th of the 9th, 2017 at 32,053 miles, West London Audi. 12th of the 10th, 2018 at 42,964 miles, Wimbledon Audi. 13th of 10th 2018 at 42,694 miles. That's Wimbledon Audi as well. That was brake fluid. I just saw something go right past the back of the car. I think it's a sheep, so I'm going to have to be careful. 27th of 9th 2019 at 54,179 miles, Wimbledon Audi. 14th of 10th 2020, 62,774 miles, Wimbledon Audi. And it's done 66,315 miles now, so not in need of a service. Very, very nice car. As I say, Bang & Olufsen speakers, which is one of the features I like in the car. The sound system to me these days is more important than the engine, and this has got a fantastic engine and a fantastic sound system. Let me just see. Yes, there's the sheep that have been heckling me while I've been doing my video again. So I don't really get four-wheel drives that drive as fast as this, but then I do. If you need both and you like a sporty ride, then I mean, watch this. And listen to it. I'm not going to go any faster than that. I could see the road was clear, but there's sheep all over the place. So you just have to take my word for it. It's a very, very quick car. As you can see, the suspension is not your usual wallowy four-wheel drive suspension. It's a sports suspension. A twin turbo car. That part of the road is been ripped up, so it's not, you know, that's not a good example of how it drives. On the normal stretch of the road here, it's pretty good, fairly quiet, certainly acceptable noise levels, to be fair. Good level of equipment. We've got cruise control down here, which is easy to use. You just click the end in and that's it. Cruise is on. Knock it up and it'll increase your speed. Knock it down, it'll decrease your speed. I think if you knock it away, that knocks it off. And if you pull it back towards you after you've knocked it off, I think that's resume. If you pull it back. So first bit is cancel there, and then if I pull back, yeah, that's resume. You've got left-hand side coolant temperature. Then your rev counter, then your information display in the center, speedo and fuel gauge at the right-hand side. Your information display there in the center, I can change that. That's knocked it onto media. We've also got mode there, so we change from digital speedo to telephone, again back to media. Digital speedo is very, very handy because it's precise and no like, depending on where you look at a speedo, an analog speedo, I suppose there can be a difference of a few miles an hour. If you're tall people drive faster through speed cameras than shorter people. Also in the information display, you've got the mileometer, your trip counter, what gear you're in, and the outside air temperature. It's saying 14 degrees outside. It feels cold today. I've got my coat on. That's your voice control, voice activation, and volume, and mute, which you do need, because if you've got it on radio, every time you get in the car the radio comes on, which I find annoying. If I want the radio on, I'm going to switch it on. No, I don't need it to come on automatically. Right, there we go. This is Certain Death Corner, and one of my viewers who's concerned for my safety said, why don't you beep when you're going around the corner? Well, they're all farmers around here. I'm pretty sure they were up at like 5 o'clock, but if somebody's having a line at that house on the corner and they're watching this video, then I apologise. Here we go. The steering is, you know, it's very precise, and with the acceleration it's capable of, you know, you can like side through country lanes if you want to. Paddle shift on the steering wheel. We can, if we knock that over, I can change gear. Here we go, another, just happened to meet him. Oh, there's the sheepdog with his head out the side door. It frightens me to death. There's a narrow, very narrow lanes here. He's in a left-hand drive vehicle, and the dog sat on the right, sticking its head out. So, right, back to the car. Knock the gear selector over to the left, and then we can change using the gear selector if you so desire. So that's in manual. If I knock it down, knock it back across the drive and then knock it down, we're in sport, so it will hold it in gear as long as possible before changing, give you the maximum range of revs. I've never had occasion while I've been driving it to need sport. It's blisteringly fast to start off with. Heated, electrically operated door mirrors. I mean, you are tempted to put your foot down, to be fair. It's very comfortable. It's the sound of the engine I like more than the going fast. It just sounds superb. Got height and reach adjustable steering wheel as well. Just should have probably showed you when we got in. And electrically adjustable seats. Got electric lumbar support, which is quite pleasant. As I say, it's just got a real sweet spot there. You could, I think you could just leave it in third and you'd be fine. Sport there. Just knock it back and into drive. Dashboard, typical Audi, very functional and pretty sparse, although, as I always do complain in Audis, in aeroplanes you have two switches to do one thing, redundancy in case one fails, you've got another one. In Audis, you've got two switches and a display to do one thing, which really annoys me. The fan switch is there. It's quite hard suspension, as I said before, so you're like trying to get the switch unless you're stopped. So the switch is there, you click the switch and then that's what it's set to. You know, again, why would you need to you know by the noise what it's set to. When it's noisy it's going fast, and when it's not noisy it's going slow, so that's not needed. But also, if you don't do it quick enough, it times out, and then that becomes your temperature selector. So as I say, you click that, comes onto that, and then these buttons here correspond to the fans. That's unusual to see somebody in a camper driving around before dinner time. They all come and camp up here and stay in bed till about midday. So the rest of the, you know, this kind of iDrive in the centre, it's far better being up there than it is down here. Again, design in cars. There's so many switches now, buttons, they've run out of space on the dashboard or where the driver can actually reach. Bear in mind, it's, you know, it's got to be within reach of the driver, so there's no point putting switches over there. And you've got to have cup holders. Everybody's got to have a cup holder these days. And they put the cup holders. I got into a bit of an argument with somebody who has a BMW, because on the internet, BMW cup holders are there, and when you go to put the cup in the holder, also the switch that knocks the ABS off is there, and it's quite easy when you put it in to knock the ABS switch off. But also you've got it's a great car. Don't let me put you off. But in the BMWs, you know the tops on Starbucks cups. I mean, the times they've come off, they're not being on properly. But if I don't use my travel mug and I get a Starbucks cup in this car, I have a habit of leaning on here and doing that. I put my arm on and that shoots forward. A Starbucks cup there, it knocks the top off the cup and splatters coffee all over the place. So you've got to be careful for that with the cup holder there. If you drink as much coffee as I do, and I get the venti latte. But the worst thing is, there's all these switches where the cup holder is. Like the BMW, the next switch to it is the ABS switch. It's, these days, I think it's the only thing keeping most drivers on the road, because there's some awful drivers around, and how they stay on the road is down to the traction control and ABS. But again, you do have to watch out, because there's a few switches here. Again, you've got your traction control there. It wouldn't bother me if it blew the stop-start switch up, because that would be doing me a big favour. And you've got your parking switches. So be careful. If you get one and you like Starbucks as much as I do, don't. There's also kind of a cup stroke flask holder down there, but you do have to be careful. We've seen cars, especially one where they'd spilt a hot chocolate on the center console, and it had blown the iDrive here, completely blown that. It had then blown the audio unit and also the screen. So probably by stopping for a Starbucks, no change out of £3,000. So as I say, be careful and look after your switches, especially your traction control one. And you do. Audi come up with some good ideas. Many years ago, I worked at a Volkswagen dealer. A very, very enjoyable time in my life working for Humphrey Moon, who's sadly not with us anymore. But selling Volkswagens, and they used to be Volkswagen Audi, and then Audi decided that they were too good to be with Volkswagen and split the franchises up. So they lost the Audi franchise, but they had two Audis left, two Audi 5-cylinder 20-valve coupes, and they were beautiful cars, absolutely beautiful. They'd had them ages. They'd had them in stock 18 months, and they couldn't sell them. And of course, it's mostly, when you're a salesman, it's not what you know, it's what you like, and when you're enthusiastic about a product, you can sell it better than when you think, oh God, this is rubbish. So as soon as I got there, I sold we had a white 20 valve and a grey 20 valve, and I sold the white 20 valve straight away. And we got this other grey 20 valve, lovely car, and there were no alarms fitted then, didn't come as standard. And of course, salesmen are targeted on not just selling cars, they're targeted on finance, gap insurance, which is a waste of money in my opinion, selling warranties, selling blooming leather protection and polish outside, all sorts of things. And these days, collision damage and alloy wheel insurance, all that rubbish. You know, it's not just enough to sell cars anymore. You've got to sell all the products in the thing because there's so little chassis profit. They have to subsidize their income with all these add-ons. Anyway, guy wanted mats, mud flaps and an alarm fitted, and we had a mechanic there who was a real good mechanic. He was the best mechanic, and I always used to, if I had any customers with a problem, I used to send them over to him or get him to come over, and he'd look after my customers. A great mechanic. So this is in no way a slur on him. He was a great guy. At the time I was taking flying lessons, and he used to call me Barry Bond. And every time I went in the workshop, he used to start humming the Bond theme. So I got on really well with him. I really liked him. But this particular day, he was fitting the alarm in the Audi, and he'd got the Audi 20 valve on the ramp, and it was about so far up while he was doing the wiring and you know, doing the pins along the doors, and he just wanted to test it. Oh, and this is why you don't drive fast in the country. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 Mrs. Pheasants, 16 Mrs. Pheasants in the road, and they're not for moving either. They're still not for moving. Having said that, oh gosh, they're coming. Anyway, he needed to test the system, and I'll say one thing about Audis: they're very good starters. And these days, you know, when you have to put your foot on the brake or the clutch before it'll start, well, I wish it had been the same then, because he leaned in the car, turned the ignition to just turn the ignition, you know, the ignition on, and the car started. It was also in gear, and the car shot off the ramp and into the workshop wall and wrote it off. And one of the Audi inventions then, you know, people in crashes used to get pinned by the steering wheel because the engine would be pushed back, which would then push the steering column and the steering wheel back into your chest. So that was it, you were a goner. Audi invented this system called Procon 10, where in a frontal impact, the engine and the gearbox would submarine underneath the car and not affect the steering column. So this little, I'm going to let this chap go past here because he looks like he's in a hurry. And I don't want him driving up my backside all over these. He's in a hurry. So yeah, the car was effectively a write-off, and it lost me a bit in commission. But yeah, so now you know, probably due to incidents like that. Having said that, we had another guy as well. started the car up in the showroom and it was in gear. You'd leave them in gear because, again, in the old days, asbestos brakes and so on, you'd leave the handbrake on and then it would just stick on. If it was slightest bit wet, it would stick on, and you'd end up taking the wheel off, taking the wheel off and hitting the drum with a hammer to release it. So we used to leave them in gear in the showroom, and somebody had left the keys in the car, and he started the car up in the showroom. It was in gear, lurched forward, straight through the showroom window. So all these, you know, all these things, you know, it's like that sign. I saw a card and it said, "I'm not saying kill all the stupid people, just take the warning labels off things for 18 months and the problem will take care of itself." So all these safety devices on cars that eventually go wrong. Anyway, it's a great car. I'm sure anybody who wants a fast four-wheel drive would love this. I like comfortable four-wheel drives, but you know, if you need to get from A to B very quickly, and sometimes there's a flood in between A to B, or mud, then this is the vehicle for you. Thanks for watching.